Good Yom Tov, I said, right? That's Yiddish. I don't usually speak Yiddish. Actually, I don't speak Yiddish at all. Well, I'm Sephardi, so that's also why. But it's one of those funny expressions. Yom Tov, which is the day we are entering into. A Yom Tov means a good day in Hebrew. But in Yiddish, they didn't know what to do with Yom Tov, and they wanted to wish each other that this day would be good. So they added in the front the word good, which means good. So they're saying good Yom Tov, good day, or good day good. So it's going to have to be really good. Welcome to this space, welcome to this moment, welcome to this high holy days of the year 5778. It's amazing, the difference a year makes. I don't know if you remember being here just a year ago, sitting in this space, ready to celebrate the year that was about to be. We sat in these pews, knowing what we knew, thinking we had a really good hold on what the future held for us. We read the polls. We read all the articles. We were coming to high holidays. We're coming to Rosh Hashana. We knew it was going to be a good Yom Tov. Or at least we imagined. We live in a different world today. We do. We live in a completely different world today. We are completely different people today compared to a year ago. I don't know if you remember what I said a year ago. There'll be a test at the end. I was looking at my notes, and sometimes I do that on the evening of Rosh Hashanah. I look into the Gematria of the year, and I did last year, looking into the Gematria of 5777 last year. The Gematria is a Kabbalistic practice that turns every number into a word, every word into a number. And we use that to see if there are equivalences. How many words can we make that are the number 9, 10, 20? And how do they connect together if they share the same mathematical value? So I look at 5777, and in Kabbalah, what you do, you add up the numbers, and you got to the number 26. And then if you want to do a deeper jump on Gematria, you add the 2 and the 6, and you get an 8. And I was talking about how the 8, if you flip it on its side, is like the symbol for infinity in mathematics. And that was hinting at something. I thought that was hinting at something if we were touching infinity. And then the number 8 really in our tradition is also the number for perfection. It's the 7 days of creation plus 1. It's this added. It's something that is beyond, that transcends creation itself. I was thinking, wow, this is going to be a year that is going to be steeped in mysticism. The 8th Sephirah on the Kabbalistic tree of life is the Sephirah of Binah, which is wisdom, but transcendent wisdom. Transcendent wisdom, beyond the sphere of space and time, transcendent wisdom. And I thought, maybe that's where we are going. And then I looked at 26. 26 is an amazing number. It's the name of God. 26 is the name of God. If you add the Yud, the He, the Vav, and the He, the 4 letters of the Tetragrammaton, the unpronounceable, transcendent aspect of the divine, Yud plus Hey plus Yud plus Vav plus Hey, that makes 26. And I shared with you that year, this year, the year that is ending tonight, was bearing the imprint of the name of God. And I'm sure you thought, that's going to be amazing. We're going to have the elections that we think we're going to have. It's going to be, the world is going to move in a completely different direction. It's going to be wholeness and healing and ushering in a different level of consciousness. It's going to be all good. And I didn't say that. I look at my notes. I was very careful. I didn't hint at anything. I didn't make any predictions. I didn't try to infer anything. I just laid out what was coming up from just looking at the Gematria, the Kabbalah. It really looked like it was going to be a jump in consciousness. Consciousness was going to evolve to a different dimension. It was clear. And it did. No, it did. It did. Because it forced us to. See, evolution doesn't happen like the flow of a calm river. That is not how evolution happens. If you want to move to a different stage of consciousness, if we want to jump a little higher, there's going to have to be some chaos. If you're going to have to let go of the place you're in and go through such a drastic kind of change, it's going to come with a lot of turmoil. It's going to come with a lot of heartbreak. Not everybody loves change. But because of what happened, look at what happened for us. We became more involved. We woke up. We took to the streets. Suddenly we found a voice that perhaps was asleep for 8 years or more. We came to a place where it decided it was time to usher in something else, something different. Exactly what the Gematria predicted. But yes, it doesn't always look the way we think it will. Actually, it never looks the way we think it will. And so here we are, and we are kind of a turning point, because it could go both ways. It could go two ways. One way, evolution can continue, and we would have to define a new path forward. A new path forward that is going to look at where we are today, include all perspectives of where we are today, but it's going to transcend where we are today because you can't find an answer to the issues you're living through from the consciousness out of which the issues awaken. You can't. You have to move to the next stage. But you have to take into account all the perspectives at that level and then find a third way. Neither that nor this, but a third way forward. And this is our challenge. This is our challenge right now, to find a third way forward, to usher in a different kind of civilization for mankind. Literally a different kind of civilization, a different kind of seeing humanity's purpose on earth. A different kind of seeing humanity's purpose on earth. A different kind of understanding what success looks like for an individual human being in this context. Of course, there is always the possibility that it would go the other direction. Because every time there is a push towards evolution, there is also a pull towards resistance and fear and not wanting things to change and feeling threatened that our way of life is being attacked. And there is a strong pull. There clearly is a majorly strong pull. And that strong pull could pull us into a place of devolving. And out of that, God save us. Who knows where that could lead us to? We know what will happen to the earth. and what will happen to us because of the devastation that climate is going to bring in. We know that the life as we know it is not going to continue to be sustainable the way it is. We know. It's already not sustainable. And it looks like we are heading towards nuclear confrontation. So I look in the Gematria for this year, because I thought we need to really figure out maybe there is a path forward. There is no path forward in the Gematria this year. It's very balanced light and shadow. Part of the number 9, which is 57, 78, being 27, collapsed into 9, talk about, on one hand, brotherly love, on the other hand, cowardice and egotism, narcissism. On one hand, it says the word avu, which is fatherly, deep principles. On the other hand, it talks about cheating and spoiling and destruction. So you couldn't really make out where things were going. It's going to be this year. It could go either way. And we have this small window, really. We have a small window. It's not a big window. Maybe a few years. Who knows? Where we can really affect change. Where we can still affect change. And we're going to have to step into that window. We're going to have to run into that window, in fact. And do all we can to indeed affect change before it's too late. And really, this image of the window is connecting us to the image of the high holidays every year. The image of the high holidays is that gates are opening tonight. The gates of repentance, the gates of introspection, the gates of looking deeply within us to find what's being called forth for our life. To take an inventory of where we are today, of who we are today in our lives. What we have done that we are proud of, what we have done that we need to work on. In our life, in our relationships, in the way we show up in the world. And we have the gates that are opening. And at the end of Yom Kippur, there is a service, the last service of the high holidays called Ne'ilah. I invite you to come. It's one of my favorite services. It starts at 6 o'clock. We end at 7. It's just a 1-hour service, but it's one of those where, you're exhausted after a whole day of fasting, 25 hours of fasting, but somehow you find the energies you have for this final push. And all of us were just living it all out. Ne'ilah, the name of the service means to lock. That's what the name means, to lock. This is the service where we lock the gates. That's it. We have 10 days. We have 10 days. The other image of opening and closing is the image of the books. That's a great image. On Rosh Hashana, God sits at his desk. Mahogany, beautiful desk. In front of her, 3 books, open, wide open. On her left, Gevurah, Din. Those are the left side of the Kabbalistic tree of life, the energies of judgment, of discernment, of strength. On her left is the book of death. And in that book already tonight, already right now, are inscribed the names of those who have been so evil that there is nothing they can do, no prayer they can pray, no atonement they can make that will change anything. Their names is on the pages of that book, sealed. On God's right, she has another book open. Sefer Chaim, the book of life. In that book, already inscribed and sealed the names of those human beings who really are angels, embodied, who can do no wrong, who walk on water. Their names are already there, and they don't even have to come to services. Actually, I emailed them and said, you guys are good today. Don't worry about it. Just make a donation, don't worry about it. In the book in front of God is the third book. In that book are the names of those who are neither in the book on the right or in the book on the left. In that book are all our names. And we have 10 days to place our names in the book of life. Now, let me make something clear. We don't think in Judaism that death is punishment for misbehavior. God forbid. The image is that we are God. Actually, we are. But the image is that we are God. And that it is about us. And it is about where we are going to write our name this year. Are we going to continue to live a half alive life? Are we going to continue to live half dead? Go through our life by force of habit or rut, not really being present to anything, just going by day? Or are we writing our name in the book of life this year? Are we going to make a commitment to ourselves that this year we're going to be fully, completely alive? Present, right here. Loving, embracing, working hard to help consciousness evolve. So the image is for us. There is no God up there sitting at a desk. We are. It is your job, my job, all our jobs to write ourselves in the book of life this year.